Our next session is titled Innovation to Entrepreneurship, A Road Less Traveled. This session will delve into the challenges and barriers that entrepreneurs face at both individual and organizational levels. Panelists will share their personal journeys and experiences, highlighting the courage it takes to take the leap into entrepreneurship. They'll reflect on the competencies and skills necessary for entrepreneurial success. Let's find out what motivates and sustains their efforts despite obstacles. I would like to call upon our first speaker, Mr. L. Janardhan Rajan. Mr. Rajan anchors the advanced analytics consulting practice in Tech Mahindra. Janardhan is passionate about analytics, artificial intelligence, and innovation. He is the chief architect for a next-generation analytics solution called Snoopy. This has been widely appreciated within the tech community and is being currently rolled out across Fortune 500 organizations to generate actionable insights from CRM service desk data. He has successfully built a high-performance analytics team within the consulting arm of Tech Mahindra, delivering a string of innovative solutions. In his earlier stint as principal consultant, he has advised CXOs in areas of IT strategy, organizational design, performance management, and operations. He is an influencer and thought leader with 3AI, India's largest platform for AI and analytics professionals. As an adjunct faculty with Manipal Academy of Higher Education, he teaches introductory courses on artificial intelligence and analytics to postgraduate students. He has been quoted in the Wall Street Journal and has published in CIO.com, South Korea. Welcome, Mr. Rajan. I would like to now call upon Mr. Shashank Rajiv, who is the innovation lead at Daimler Truck, India Innovation Center. He is an advocate of creating a culture conducive for creativity and innovation through partnerships with internal and external ecosystems. In his 10 years of work experience, Shashank has worked with Deloitte, Mercedes-Benz, Zinnov, and others. Shashank and his colleagues have been passionately building the innovation culture at Daimler Truck, for which they have also received an award in the entrepreneurial practice yesterday evening. Thank you for joining us, Shashank. For our third speaker, I would like to next call upon Ms. Mani Gupta. Ms. Gupta is the forefront of Tata Elxsi's Healthcare and Life Sciences Digital Solutions Division. She is an alumni of University of British Columbia, Vancouver, and National Institute of Technology, Kurukshetra. With an impressive tenure exceeding 2 decades, she is a seasoned veteran in steering global software solutions within the life sciences and communication sectors. Collaborating with research and development contingents of premier original equipment manufacturers, her expertise is deeply rooted in the innovation and engineering of cutting-edge software solutions. Her proficiency encompasses the integration of advanced technologies such as generative AI, robotic process automation, deep learning, and optical character recognition. Recognized for her strategic oversight, Mani has skillfully managed substantial portfolios across the United States, Europe, and the Asia-Pacific regions, fortifying Tata Elxsi's presence in the healthcare and life science and communications domain. Welcome, Ms. Gupta. Finally, it is my pleasure to call Mr. Suresh Ramu, who is the co-founder and CEO of Sidecare Hospitals, a comprehensive cancer care hospital. Their first cancer 150-bed Oregon site, Focus Cancer Hospital, that went live November 2016 on Airport Road, Yelahanka, Bangalore. He is also a co-founder of Sidecare Research, a clinical research solutions organization. Earlier, Ramu was with Quintiles for about 10 years in various global business roles prior to joining. Ramu was a consultant for PricewaterhouseCoopers. He was also an early team member for a startup telemedicine company in India. Ramu has a bachelor's engineering degree from the Indian Institute of Technology in Madras and a master's in business administration from the Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta. Ramu is passionate about excellence in healthcare and research. He is also a member of Unfold Entrepreneurship Council and was a jury in the current Vanguard Awards. Welcome, Mr. Ramu.
Thank you. Thank you, Unfold. Thank you, audience. It's been a fantastic a day, actually, and it looks like we've spent a lot of time already, right? I mean, the amount of interactions over the last maybe 1.5 days have been spectacular. Personally, we think we know a little bit about this whole field that we're talking about, but coming into a conference like this, you just are humbled with the amount of experience and the insight that you can get. And today, we are actually privileged to have the practitioners of entrepreneurship, the people who have won awards, they've won accolades globally, locally, and have sustained this whole idea or ideas over the many years and some of them decades, right? So this is amazing to have them on stage and hear from them. And often we talk about innovation, entrepreneurship interchangeably. I think we'll talk a little bit about the differences as some of them see it. What are the skills and competencies that one looks for? And what have the personal journeys have been? And I just wanted to start by saying, I come from a hospital background, but actually have spent about maybe a couple of decades in the healthcare or drug discovery and development. And drug discovery happens over a decade or so. So you really don't see the final product very often at all. And you have to be patient enough, and many people switch companies even before they have seen the final product that they worked on. So in a company environment where innovation is the key to success, actually you often do not see the final product at all. And then you come to the other extreme almost to healthcare delivery, which is a service and no product at all, right? So everything is an experience. The product is the instantaneous culmination of several people, attributes, processes that come together to deliver that product experience, which is a brand experience for the ultimate customer. And we also have diversity in terms of the various industries that are represented on stage today, right? So we've got tech, we've got hardcore tech, and we've got consulting expertise, and we've got automotive expertise here, and people who have worked on various other industry verticals. So I hope that we can get a few minutes from the audience if you have any comments and questions at the end of it. But to start off, I would like to really, I'm curious sometimes to say, what is it that brings us together into entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship? Why are some people better or are seemingly more interested? Or what do you see from your own backgrounds if you have to reflect? Why are you in a position like this? So maybe I start with Mani first.
Yeah, thanks, and honored to be here, and thanks to Unfold for having me here. So I mean, our team won an award yesterday. I can talk from that journey itself on what it takes to be an entrepreneur, or what motivates us. I would say it's my educational background which makes me a technologist, and my own passion, or my I would say my personal goals to do something better. It's not just like climbing a ladder in the corporate world, but doing something which can make a difference for the society, for my organization. That is something which is the key, which is driving me every day. That I have to do something different, which will get something for my organization and will do something for the society as well. And I see the same traits in my team as well, right? So if I'm giving my team, okay, this is what you have to implement, and the person comes back with 2 additional features, if we implement this, then the customer will be happier. I mean, we will address this pain point of the customer. That is an indication, this person has that mindset to go 2 steps forward and do something extra. So these innovations, these ideas as a technologist, this keeps bubbling every day in all of us, because we all are there in corporate world. But then there is a framework required to take it to a end goal where it is returning some investments. There's a return on investments for the country, and then for the company, and then the social impact as well. That's where the company, the intrapreneurship, that helps you, because there are frameworks, there are set policies, checks and validations, which helps you guide on what is the right path forward. Is it like, what I'm investing right now, will it really materialize into a real product, or it is just my own technical challenge that I'm trying to solve? So that's where my organization has guided me, and then we have reached here where one of the ideas that we had conceived as a technologist has actually realized, and it will go in the hands of millions of people. So these are the things which, from my personal journey, what I have been doing, I feel are most important.
So what you're saying, Mani, is there are some definitive personal attributes. I think she said passion, the willingness to come back and repeatedly do the same thing and fight against all odds, etc. That she kind of mentioned it, and I think that's a huge attribute, I would say, that she mentioned. But also some systems and processes, some structure, some tools that are helping. Shashank, you've been in innovation consulting, and I think that's fascinating. When there was very little being spoken a decade ago, and I think now you're playing an important role globally in terms of driving innovation within Daimler trucks. So, bring out your own background and why and how, more importantly, did you arrive into this whole space?
Sure. Thanks, Ram. So I'll just take it back maybe a decade more or so. During engineering, I was always passionate about building things, right? And I needed to find an outlet for it. It just gave me happiness. So I had about 20 plus projects varying from robotics, sensors, some medical devices as well. And it sort of became like, I know the technology now, I've played around with it, but what can it do? And this is when I started really looking out for things where technologies can actually help us out, situations, problems. And came in touch with design thinking, started practicing it, started doing workshops on it to get some money on the side so that I can buy my parts for various projects. And at this point, this is when I really understood that for me, technology is a black box, right? And for a lot of the users and customers that we cater to, it's a black box. The only thing that matters is what problem are we solving and how do we solve it? Like how do they feel after solving it? So that's something that I really focused my efforts during an early stage. And in 2 years, I tried my feeble attempt at a startup. Lot of ups and downs because we were good at building things, but building a technology or a product is very different from building a startup or a end-to-end business. And there were a lot of places where we could have done better, but we didn't, and it ended up failing because we weren't able to pivot ultimately. Post a few years, joined consulting. And in consulting, what happens is you're exposed to a lot of businesses, a lot of challenges in a short period of time. You don't have, in different industries, so you don't have a lot of time to sort of assimilate everything and become an expert or go to that depth. So it also becomes very important for you to think from a systemic point of view, systemic thinking or system thinking. And I think that's something that I've developed over the years where you're able to sort of zoom in to the problem area and also zoom out equally and have that big picture view to sort of see the adjacencies or which could influence a problem. And that kind of gives you a lot of wiggle room to, one, navigate, and also tells you what resources you may have but you don't know and that you can use. And as I touched upon the expertise part, it becomes imperative for you to grow a network and garner support and find the right people to help you execute a particular task. So I think that's a skill that I sort of developed, and this is also a skill that I tend to look for in teams when I'm trying to get on board team members, or even that I've seen in senior innovation leaders. I think the zooming and zooming out is very important, especially when you're stuck in a rut or a problem. So imagine you're in a maze and you have like a drone that can go up and guide you to the exit point. And in a lot of the projects that we've done, this is what happened when you're trying to sell a new innovative project or an idea. Sometimes you go to the top leadership, and for a variety of reasons, it could not be technical or it could not be a business case. It doesn't go through. So we started understanding early on that sometimes in order to get there are multiple paths that you can take, and identifying the right path is very critical. So yeah.
Oh, fascinating, isn't it? I mean, I think if you see the number of different competencies that he mentioned in a 3-minute talk, I could hear things like there is a structure, of course, in the way things. There's a problem-solving aptitude. You love problem-solving. There's also thing that I need to implement things. I want to see it in life. It's not just some consulting I want to do. I want to see it in action. So there's something about getting it into implementation that I can hear. There's also the thing that you can zoom in and zoom out, which to me is like you can see the end goal and you come back again. So the customer, the voice of the customer, and continuously feeding that back into the innovation process. But Janardhan, from a technology standpoint, you've seen a lot of this evolution as well, and you've seen, and you're driving innovation in a highly tech-driven business, and you've won many awards in this whole space. We talk about innovation very often in the same breath as in entrepreneurship, but we know that there is a journey, there are things. Can you elaborate more from your own experiences, what you see are the key things in this whole journey?
Thank you. Firstly, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Unfold for giving this opportunity to me and my team. So essentially, as a consultant, as Shashank mentioned, you have a great opportunity to, in a short span of time, you get exposed to a large amount of problems. And, it's in a way enjoyable because you're looking at different customers, different verticals, different geographies, but more or less you start getting to look at the similar strands. And consulting engagement after engagement, for me, it became like, by the time I would get into my fourth engagement, in 3 days, what's a 6-week engagement? In 3 days, I would know pretty much all the problems. 80% of my final report would be ready by the third day. It's like almost, knee-jerk that if customer is facing symptoms 7, 8, then 9, 10, 11, 12 are obvious. And so in my case, especially be it the innovation or the entrepreneurship journey, it's because of the passion for solving problems for customers, right? They are calling you because they want you to solve a problem, and that you solve one problem, it gets exciting, and that you solve myriad problems, it's in a way you start going after it. You become like a heat-seeking missile. You want one after the other. And in consulting, again, every engagement that we would ask, typically at the beginning of engagement, we would ask what is called as evidence of intent and evidence of action. So evidence of intent are typically process documents, what a company really wants to do. Evidence of action are what they have gone about implementing it. Are they really walking the talk? So a lot of times, in consulting, again, the advantage that I saw is, there'll be my account manager who's wining and dining with my customer for dozens of years, but he will not get an iota of data. But that I have been with him for the past few days. There's an amount of trust because of the role that I'm playing. I get tons and tons of data. The question that I ask myself is, are we really doing justice to all the data that they're giving you? And then the honest answer was not. Possibly we're only as good or as bad as the kind of insights we are able to generate using Excel. And then I said, maybe we're missing something. We're missing the grammar of data analysis. We are missing, the possibility of leveraging open source tools. And that's when I got the first idea. We thought, why don't we take open source tools, give different sets of insights. And trust me, almost every problem that the customer was facing, there is a signature in the data if you start looking at it. And that's when I said, now I don't need to even spend those 6 weeks in a customer place. Just give me a ticket dump. I'll tell you at least 8 of the problems that you're facing. So that was the innovation. And now in most organizations, as you are forced to become an entrepreneur or entrepreneur, what you want to call it. But I would tell in the service industry, I call it the poultry farm model, right? Because everybody is asking, how many people do you have? You are leading a 300-member team, 600-member team, but question is what value, what impact are you creating? And I really didn't want to be that. So I always felt there are alternate ways of delivering value and impact, and that should be more based on IP and products. And thankfully, with my colleagues, Nisha and others, with whom I studied together, we were able to do it. And when we actually presented the first MVP to our customer, he said, after we did everything, he said, what's the license cost? And that was a moment of truth, because that was the signal. We are not software engineers. We are basically process consultants. We're basically people who know how to crunch data. And then somebody is willing to pay money for a software that you built using open source. That's a good signal, build on it. And that's the journey we took. And thankfully, yeah, it's really opened up new vistas for us.
Fantastic. And obviously, there are a lot of challenges and barriers in this whole process, right? So you see that it's easy to say, but to actually make it happen, you would encounter significant challenges, barriers, people are going to encounter. both in a leadership position, Mani, as well as maybe being part of such teams, do you see roles? Do you see challenges? Do you see structure? What do you do to deal with this?
Yeah, sure. So, so as I said, like we have ideas, we have many ideas, but when we have to convert it to a real solution, then we have to work within the organization's structure, with the organization's framework. So one typical example, or what I believe is a must for entrepreneurship, I would like to talk about is partnership. So collaboration, we are talking about since yesterday. So collaboration, not just within the organization, but outside the organization also. So for the idea that for which we won the award yesterday, there was a big need of collaboration with external parties, because it's an idea to screen children for neurodiversity disorders. So there are a lot many things in that. I mean, there are legalities, there is sensitivity of data, who will be screening it, whether the screening assessment is correct or not. So we need partners for that. We developed a technical solution, but now how to take it to market, right? So for that, we had to find a partner, and there were multiple failures, success, and all. And luckily, eventually, we found one partner within the Tata Group, and then with the government as well, which worked for us and which will take it to the people, the children in tier 2, tier 3 cities. So that collaboration within the organization framework, because we have legal checks, we have financial checks as well. So it gives us trust that you're partnering with the right person, right? This is the plus. Plus, we have to navigate through all those processes also, and then work with the partner also, okay, how we can overcome this hurdle, how you can be in that list of, a qualified partner. So this was one main hurdle which I talk about, because we work on collaboration in different ideas, because we collaborate with the Educational Institute as well. So one of another idea which we had collaborated with IIT Bombay, that was also a big success. It's an award-winning project right now. So again, collaborating with the Educational Institute, they should be within our qualified list of partners, and then finding a partner to co-develop and then taking it forward. That is something I would say it was in my journey was very important. And
Fantastic. I think we continuously hear that don't only look at organizational silos and break them within the organization, but also look at how you can bring in the external collaborations. Janardhan, any 1 minute on this additional?
Yeah, see, obviously, I think there's no two ways that you will encounter constraints, and the elephant in the room is the very organization that you're trying to build it. But the point is, think about it. The salary that is coming to you is probably being paid by your customer. Because tomorrow, if let's say you're not doing a project which is not of value to a customer, you might not be in the organization, so it's your customer. And I'd like to think that there will be barriers in the organization, but trust me, the best catalyst to change that is probably your customer. Because if you have the innovation that's addressing the burning issue of your customer, all it takes is a word from the customer. Organization will realign for itself. They're not going to realign for you, but they're going to realign for your customer. And that's where I see that opportunity you can always exploit.
I want to touch upon one more thing that came up in our initial conversations as to the session, is that the environment that we create within the organization is extraordinarily important. We talked about already in the earlier sessions that dare to fly, dare to fail. How do you allow for failure? But there's one different aspect that I think Shashank brought up during our communication. Maybe you want to talk about that. Fun?
Fun, yeah, sure. So before I touch upon the fun part, I'd just like to add to what Janardhan and just mentioned. So there's going to be challenges, right? And a lot of times when you look at innovation, and I want to bring up entrepreneurship and innovation here. Innovation, you have a project, you come up with an innovative idea, and you push it through. There are certain boundaries or certain conditions which support that particular idea to take forward. You might have the customers, you might have the data, you might have all of these things. But with respect to entrepreneurship, when especially if it's a adjacency or if it's not very closely aligned with the code, what happens is you might have to play different roles, right? And you might have to do things which you might not know how to. For example, you might have to talk to people which you don't know exist in the organization. You need to sniff out if such a project has been done. If so, why did it not work, or did it work? You might have to talk to the legal departments, finance departments, and if you're an engineer, then that might be extremely foreign to you. So the importance of switching between the hats is also critical. Because you ultimately own that idea, and the only thing is what we touched upon is that the passion that you have, the drive that you have, I think that is what allows you to switch between those hats and take go through that journey of ups, downs, roadblocks, all of that, and the successes ultimately. So coming to the fun part, and the journey is arduous, we all understand that. And when we're having fun, when we're with friends, when we're in a peaceful place, our minds are open, right? We're able to think creatively. And if I look at the foundational research around this, creativity, it flourishes in an environment which is playful and also non-evaluatory or non-judgmental. So when we say fun, it's not just games, right? It's also how we're doing our day-to-day work, and that can make the progress or the journey a lot easier. A lot of times when we think about fun, I link it to psychological safety. The previous panel, we brought upon a lot of points, and I love that, right? And I just want to bring up a few of these things. When we talk about psychological safety and innovation from that perspective, we all know that the more ideas you have, the more chances of success. It's a probability game ultimately, right? Of course, a lot of other factors go into it, but ultimately the more ideas and the better. You want to encourage everyone in your team to sort of come up with these ideas, and for that you need to create an environment of psychological safety. In a couple of workshops that I do, if we're trying to brainstorm on a particular problem, one of the exercises that I do is the worst idea possible, right? You're supposed to give the worst idea you can think of that solves a problem. Now, when the goal is to come up with a bad idea, everyone is kind of taking it in a fun way. Everyone's looking at it like, there's no judgment here, because that's the objective. And then you slowly move into bringing in the good ideas forward. This is also critical from an organizational perspective. This is very critical because organizations put money, resources, mentorship, time into certain ideas. Now you want those ideas to have the maximum chances of success. A lot of times we have a lot of zombie projects. Now Sheenam in the previous thing said green light, red light, right? You ask them what's the status, everyone says green. I really love that because I see that a lot too. A lot of these projects, though that I call them zombie projects because they're heading in the wrong direction or they're not moving anywhere, but we are afraid of killing it. And I think the people who should kill it should be the innovators or the entrepreneurs themselves. And the reason why you should, kill, why they're afraid is because they link the idea to their identity. Right. Ideas can fail, but people cannot. So that's an important thing, that's something that we should bring up. And that will actually create that environment of learning through experimentation, which ultimately leads to innovation and entrepreneurship.
It's important to recognize. And yesterday we also picked up a key word that there is discipline that is required. There are some non-compromisables that are required to be instilled in the organization. So I think you need to really create a balancing environment, right? I think what we really need to take away, in my opinion, is there are some core skills. There are definitely some tools and processes that need to foster entrepreneurship within organizations. But there's also a need to figure out how we create balance in the work environment. And I'm going to hand over back to Pooja.
Sorry, we have the 3 scientists from ISRO who are going next, so I don't want to take away too much of their time. They've actually come from outside Bangalore, from all the 3 centers, and some from Bangalore. So thank you so much. All 3 are winners of our Vanguard Awards. We are very, very impressed with their journeys. There's nothing like hearing it from the winners. We had to take a leap of faith. I know Bangalore is extremely tough. One day itself to take out from work is tough. We had to do a 2-day so that we could share, the stories. And I'm happy for all those who made it for the 2nd day. It was a call that we had to take because very difficult to have the award winning in the evening and then deconstruct. So thank you so much. All 3 are very brave entrepreneurs, boundless. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Ramu. We'd like to felicitate. Okay. Can I call upon Kalpana Dubey to please come on stage to do the felicitation?